You're watching another episode of What Do You Need to Know to Live in Costa Rica. Today, we're answering your frequently asked questions about banking in Costa Rica. Answering your questions about banking in Costa Rica, I'm Aaron Bailey, joined as always by my good friend, business partner, and Banco Nacional customer, Patrick Jager.
I don't think I want
Patrick.
everyone to know where I bank. I mean,
Yeah,
that
maybe
feels
we
like
shouldn't.
very private
It
information.
does. The
I,
vast amount of money you keep in that bank account, and I keep in my
yeah,
Banco Nacional account.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, how are you today?
I'm well. This is the my least favorite topic about life in Costa Rica, but it's a very important one. So
Wait.
we're
Okay,
gonna get through
I'm
this.
gonna start with what I have a question for you, but before we do that, if you like what we're doing, if you enjoy these videos, if you want to get involved, Ola at Your Pura Vida, if you want to reach out to us, if you want to see everything else we're doing, Your Pura Vida /links. Thumbs up this, engage with us, leave us a comment, share. We really do these videos because people find value in them. So we thank you for that. Now, my question, why is this your least favorite topic?
Because this isn't always banking is not always easy. Setting up an account here can be really time consuming and frustrating and stressful. Going to the bank can often take an hour to 2 hours waiting to see someone. Um, Banking is just really slow. It's antiquated in many ways. The user interface to most banks on the app or on their website is just like stuck in the early 2000s. But it's fairly safe and pretty straightforward once you figure out the nuances of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that rousing endorsement of banking, let's have you do the first frequently asked question.
Are we able to open a bank account in Costa Rica as non-residents? Yes, you are able to open up a bank account at certain banks as non-residents on a tourist visa, but there's some caveats. One, you have to have a lease or you have had to have purchased property so that you have some sort of ties to the country. And you can usually take that document in and open up a bank account once you have that paperwork. Not every bank branch understands this, and so you might have to go to a different branch if you're denied at the first one. But eventually, you will be able to set up a bank account if you have a lease or if you own property.
Yeah, make sure you have all your ducks in a row, like you have all the right paperwork with you and credentialing, so that when you go, it is easier. A lot of people, what happens is they go, they have what they think they need to have, and then they realize they're missing a document. So make sure you have that. The other thing I would say is if you're going to open a bank account and you do not feel comfortable in business Spanish, think about having someone go with you just as a lifeline. It's not, we really believe that you should be able to do for yourself, but when you're doing something that's business or professional oriented, you don't want to inadvertently make an error because you thought you heard X and the answer was, something totally different. So that would be the only other thing I would say. All right, what's the next one?
Do you?
Oh, I'm gonna let you do it.
Okay. What are the best ways to transfer money internationally to Costa Rica? So there's lots of platforms. Wise is one of them. Zoom is another. Or you,
XOOM, not ZOM.
yes, XOOM. Or you can simply wire transfer from your home bank in the United States, Canada, Europe to Costa Rica. Um, you can also simply go to a bank with your U.S. or Canadian debit card, withdraw cash, and turn around and deposit that into the bank in your U.S. account, depending on the fees. You have to check on their fees from your home bank. But oftentimes that works as well. A big disclaimer, we would avoid carrying around a lot of cash, either flying to the country with a bunch of cash or having a bunch of cash on you in Costa Rica. It's not unsafe, but there's if something happens, there's no way of getting that cash back.
I mean, the same thing is true in this, wherever you live.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it, um, the one thing I would really say with wire transfers is know the fees on both sides of that transfer. You're going to be charged a fee from your home institution and you're going to be charged a fee from the bank in Costa Rica. This is particularly important if you're paying someone else, like someone did work at your house, they repaired something at your house, and they would much prefer cash. You're like, look, that's enough money that I got to wire transfer that. You need to calculate the extra amount of the wire transfer on both sides into what you sent, unless you've made an agreement that they're going to cover the wire transfer fees on their side. But ostensibly, if you owe them $400, they should get $400, not $400 minus wire transfer fees on both sides. Which Costa Rican banks are easiest for foreigners to work with? So there are three that we would say. Two are public banks, one's a private bank. BAC, which is a private bank, Banco Nacional, and Banco Costa Rica. Those three are kind of the ones that most foreigners tend to work with. The two public ones are, think of it like an FDIC insured bank, right? It's a government backed bank. BAC is a massive, massive, massive bank as well. So like these are the ones that I think people feel the most comfortable with. There are lots of other private options that we can go through with you on a call. That's really what we do with our clients, is to really help them kind of think through those options in a nuanced way that ties to what you're looking for. It's very different if you're looking for personal banking versus you opened a business here or you bought a business here. So that, there's some nuances to what type of bank you're going to look for. But those are really the three top ones that we would recommend you think about.
What documentation do I need to open up a local bank account? So you'll need your passport. You need your passport for a lot of things in Costa Rica. So just carry it with you. Passport, proof of residency application, if you're going through the residency process, your lease or utility bill, or the municipality where you own your house, there's a declaration that you can take in. Sometimes you need a reference from an attorney or from someone else. And this all varies by the bank and sometimes by the branch. So we can help you to really think through and figure out what the best approach is when you're opening up a bank account.
Okay, next frequently asked question that we get a lot. Any tips on how to get the most value from your home country's currency versus the Costa Rican colones? For a long time, the dollar, for example, the US dollar had a very high rate against the krone. So then you could change into coronas, and it's saving you money. It's stabilized down to a level that's been relatively the same level for a few years. So this advice is kind of when it's a little more volatile and think prices are changing, but really it's look for the day where the exchange rate is best. Um, the other thing I would say is, especially like when it's volatile and the price changes, um, if the benefit is to the US dollar, pay in dollars. A lot of times you have options. Do you want to pay in dollars or colones, even on a reader? Um, if it's stable, that's really up to you. If you have a bank that is going to charge you a conversion fee, pay in dollars. If you have a bank that's not going to charge you a conversion fee, it's up to you. I don't really know if I have a bigger thing than that. The other thing I would say, though, is you can always withdraw money from an ATM. And just like in the States, if you're going to get a small ATM fee, it behooves you to take out a little more money so that that fee is spread out over more dollars. Um, I don't take out money a lot, but when I do, I tend to take out enough that I know it's going to last me, quite a bit of time. What would you add to that?
I, uh, our Canadian clients point out that oftentimes they have to, if they're buying something in US dollars, houses, cars, rent, there are lots of things that are paid for in US dollars here. The Canadians have to then they lose double. They have to transfer into the US dollar and then from the US dollar into colones often. So Canadians have an extra added and Europeans have an extra added step to take. So just be conscious of that when you're planning your move to Costa Rica.
Oh, that's a really good one. All right. You can take the next one.
Should I bring cash? And if so, how much? There are always reasons to pay vendors and workers in cash in US dollars or colones. Lots of places do take credit cards, and you'll see credit card readers tap to pay ubiquitously, lots of places. If you want to bring cash, make sure it's clean, unmarked, non-damaged bills in smaller denominations, 20s or less. Most banks in Costa Rica will either reject bills that are torn, written on, or taped, or they might charge you a fee to accept that. And so go to your bank in your home country in the US and make sure that those bills are really, really clean.
So the reason for that is money laundering. That's the big reason. They want to make sure that the bills they are taking are clean, viable bills. Oftentimes, when you go with cash to your bank branch, it will take time. Like it's not like they just take the money and deposit it. They're going to look at every bill. They're going to scrutinize those bills, and a lot of times they'll say, "Not this one, not this one." And the reason this is important with small denominations is if you're paying, for example, your gardener with cash or someone's doing a handyman project and they said I'll charge you $40. You don't want them to get to the bank and it's rejected for them. So it's really about being conscientious for them. um the because you can get almost anything through an ATM. You can get dollars through an ATM. You cannot get Canadian dollars, but you can get US dollars. And you can get colones, of course. You don't need to bring anything in. You really don't. You can get it all once you're here. But really think about the denominations that make sense. If a bank is going to charge, if you owe someone $100, and rather than give it in colones, you're going to give them $100 bill. Chances are they're going to have a fee to change that bill in. So think small denominations, because that way the people that you're dealing with don't get penalized. You'll hear, I mean, obviously I've said this a few times on a few different things, but you have to think about the end user.
And once you have an account here, you will be transferring money via SynPay or IBAN. So
Mhm.
you don't really need cash to pay a lot of people. A lot of people just with their phone, they can transfer the money. But before you have a bank account, that's the way we would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question. What's the best way to manage money once I arrive? So we're a little bit redundant in these answers, but these questions are the ones that come up. So you hear the same answer quite a bit. Use a credit card as much as you can, but try to make sure it's one that doesn't have any foreign transaction fees. So, for example, Chase Sapphire, Capital One, Apple, these are all ones that don't have an international transfer fee, transaction fee. So, make sure you know what your fees are for your bank, because if you have a high fee and you're using your card 7 times a day, that starts to add up. Then definitely plan on opening a Costa Rican bank account once you're settled. Um, Set up mobile banking and notify your bank about your move so they understand why there are so many charges that are happening. Um, and then know that it's important that you have a bank account in your home country for most people for lots of different reasons. A lot of us, anyone that is working, you need a place for your paychecks to go or your fees to go. You still are required to pay taxes in your home country. So don't think of it as you're going to move everything lock, stock, and barrel down to Costa Rica right away. You have time to figure out your life and what you want to do. But I know people that have lived in Costa Rica for 40 years that still have bank accounts back where they lived before.
All right, what should I do if I lose important documents?
Mm.
Um, have everything scanned digitally and backed up in a encrypted way to the cloud. I use 1Password for everything. Every single document I have is in 1Password. So if I lose my phone, if I lose everything, the documents get, if my wallet gets stolen, I can go and very quickly retrieve everything on any computer. Um, and then I would say have a physical copy with a trusted contact back home. Someone who can throw it in an envelope, FedEx, and ship it down. Um, Family member, sister, brother, whatever that is. The other thing for credit cards, put them in Apple Pay or Google Wallet so that if you do lose the original card somehow and the bank reissues a new card, they will immediately replace that Apple Pay or Google Wallet card with the new card so that you can continue to use it while you wait for a physical copy to be mailed to you.
It also means that you don't necessarily have to carry all these credit cards. As
Right.
Aaron said, everything's in my Apple Wallet. So I don't physically carry credit cards almost never. I have one that I carry, and it's my Costa Rican one. Like everything else is just in my Apple Pay.
Yep.
Um, okay, how can I access my home country banking services securely? Um, I, I would say for the vast majority of things you're going to access, you are fine with your home internet. You're fine with whatever. Like this is not a place where there's like the mafia scraping numbers off of the side of the road. So you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But just to give you peace of mind, there's a few things. When you can, use a VPN. Always keep a US Canadian phone number active, Google Voice or something, just so that you have that. Um, Use two-factor identification. I hated it so much, and I
Authentication.
now what did I say?
Two-factor authentication, not identification.
Oh yeah,
I'm the
authentication.
technical one.
Asian, Asian. It's just Asian. Um, I hated that at the beginning, but now I really love it because I love knowing that I have that extra thing. Um, Um, there are some sites. The reason we talk about VPN and some of those there are some sites that streaming sites, tax platforms that might get geo-blocked. Like a great example of that is even in reverse. I can't pay cable bill, my Costa Rican cable bill. I can't pay from when I'm in the States. I have to be in Costa Rica. It's geofenced. So the same thing does happen in the States or Canada or what have you. So um, there will be a few times you need to think about this, but in most cases, you just do it your normal way.
Do I still need to file taxes in my home country? Now, this is going to vary by country, but for US citizens, we must file annually. If you're out of the country for a certain number of days, you don't have to pay taxes on a certain amount of money. That's all should be discussed with a qualified CPA. We are not experts here, and there's a lot of nuance to that. So look into that. You have to file taxes, and you have to file a document if you have a bank account outside the United States that goes over $10,000 at any point in the year. So that's another big one. Canadians, I think, also have to file taxes. Europeans probably do as well. So really important to consult a tax advisor who's familiar with your specific situation.
A lot of people go, "Well, I'm not living there. Why would I have to pay?" You are a citizen of a country, and as such, the citizen part of the obligation of citizenship is paying the taxes. Um, that's the best way to look at it. Unless you're somehow renouncing your citizenship in your home country and saying, "I will never go back there." Um, and even then, Uncle Sam, for example, is probably going to find you. So it just there is the answer is because you have to.
Yeah.
I think is really the real answer there. Okay, Aaron, obviously this is just the tip of the iceberg on banking questions, but we got through your least favorite subject with the frequently asked questions that we get today. Clearly, there's a lot more. So if you have other questions about banking, put them in the comments here. Know that our job is to help you feel comfortable in a subject because it's not just about living here, it's about thriving and feeling satisfied that you know what you need to do is a huge part of that.
This is, as I said, not a fun topic, but I'm glad we got through it. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, Patrick. Pura vida.
Pura vida.